Hello and welcome to another episode of the Proton Pack Podcast. I'm Kris, and with me always is the Jar Jar of my Obi-Wan, Tony. Say hey, Tone.
It's so smiling to see in your side.
Looky, Senator. Decent Jedi arrived.
What is up, guys?
All right, we're back.
Episode 44?
43, I believe.
43.
Maybe 44.
44, my notes.
It might be 44.
44. We're in the 40s. What's up, Sunday Night Live? We decided to go a little late tonight because of the playoff games.
Yep.
We didn't think we'd get much viewership, so here we are, our first Sunday night show.
Well, and we wanted to watch the games too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But we are back, and if you are watching us live...
We are back.
You'll notice we made some updates to our little frame here, so...
I guess.
Yeah, there's...
That way, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, there's zero doubt on where you can find us now, especially if you're watching. So, in any case,
Hi, Lacey. Hi, Mike. I saw you guys were on there.
Hi, guys. We are back. This is our first show of 2020, and we have actually a pretty good lineup of stories, which, earlier last week, we were a little afraid that it'd be kind of short on stuff. But luckily, it all pulled through here pretty quickly. All right, Tony, get that button ready because we're going to start off with our shameless plugs.
Oh, yeah.
It's shameless plug time.
It is in these hills that Juan Valdez and his trusty goat gather coffee beans every morning. Money is cool.
Money's cool.
Money's nice.
It's okay.
It's just aight.
It has its perks.
Overrated.
All right. In any case, talking about the dog rescue nonprofit that I run called Rough Riders. That's RUFFRIDERS. You can find out information at roughriders.org, and we are looking at doing even more in 2020. And part of that is we're hoping to raise enough money for our transport fleet, looking to get $75,000 for 2 commercial vans upfitted with all kinds of kennels so that we can move more dogs at any given time. We are looking for donations still to meet that goal, but as I've mentioned before, we do have the wonderful support of Tito's Handmade Vodka. They are going to donate $10,000 for the next $10,000 that we raise through individuals and businesses. So we can use your help with that. And again, that's at roughriders.org. Tony, it is Sunday, and you did your guest appearance on your weekly radio show with our friend Jimmy Jones. Tell us a little more about that.
So I am a part of the Sunday night movie portion of a little show called Pop Culture Kaboom. It airs every Sunday on 95.1 KNVC FM, Carson City Community
KNVC.
KNVC. And with that, you can also always stream live if you follow Pop Culture Kaboom. Jimmy talks about everything from movies, comic books, Comic-Cons, action figures, weird anime, and anything in between.
Weird anime.
My portion is he gives me 3 or 4 movies to watch and watch the trailers, and then I have to base kind of is that something I would go see and let you guys know. This week we covered some Japanimation movie called The Withering Something. No, thank you. And then we covered Doolittle, which aside from the CGI looking kind of crappy, the movie looks not bad.
No.
I like Robert Downey Jr. So I would see that. And of course, Bad Boys for Life. Don't like the name of the movie, but it's Bad Boys 3, and I'm hella going to go see that. So
definitely.
That's what we talked about this week. But if you tune in on Sundays at 8:40 p.m. Mountain Time, so 7:40 Pacific, and yada yada. So that's when that airs, and check it out. Pop Culture Kaboom.
Kaboomy. All right.
Boom shakalaka. I didn't have the button for that one.
That's all right. No, I just saw a text message that Jesse said, dogs are peed.
Dogs are peed?
All your base are belong to us.
Gotcha. Now, do you have like the YouTube stream going too, and you see the comments? Can you reply to those as you go?
I could, but I would lose some of the story stuff. So
I don't want to lose the golden face here. I have to learn where to point. I have to backwards. There you go. Don't lose the golden voice. Okay.
All right, so Pop Culture Kaboom, Rough Riders, that are the shameless plugs that we like to tell you about each and every week.
We got nothing else to try to promote.
Yep.
Other than our show, we are going to try to go live every Sunday. That's the goal. So if you're tuning in now, we typically won't run this late. We'll run a little earlier on Sundays. We're shooting to be about 5 p.m. Pacific time. So stay tuned with that. As you can see, we've made some changes on the page you see here where we advertise where you can locate us, download the podcast, and soon we will have new intros and everything. It's all work in progress for 2020 as we move forward. So hopefully we have some stability so we can gain a better listening audience stuff. So please feel free to go to our Facebook page as well and chime in. Participate, leave us comments. What do you guys want to see? What do you want us to try to cover? And we'll do that because right now we just kind of find stories throughout the week. We figure Sunday's the best point to tell you about all this week's news. So with that being said, what do you say we throw into TV, huh?
I say that sounds like a plan.
Bazinga. The cream of the crop.
Hey, baby.
Let's go, Bob.
Excellent.
Hail to the king.
All right. So, our first bit of TV news is no secret that as much as we love comic book and, sci-fi and fantasy and things like that, we're also big fans of horror. And the first... Horror.
I gotta say, too, before we get into TV, I just got a comment saying they couldn't hear me. If you guys chime in, see if you can hear me. I turned my volume up a little more. I don't know. Maybe I need to talk better.
Well, see, I've got my microphone right here.
Yeah, mine's here.
Tony's is a little far away, but if there's a way
if you just chime in, Lace, you let me know if that's better. Hey, okay, partner. Okay.
All right. Back to the show. All right, so the first bit of news is that Silence of the Lambs is getting a sequel series to CBS. The new crime drama is going to
say Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs.
That's no problem, Lloyd. We can be classy and sophisticated. Look at the fun bags on that whole hound.
I'd like to eat her liver with some farmer beans and a nice bottle of Chianti.
All right, the new crime drama is going to be titled Clarice, obviously based around Clarice Starling, and is actually written by Thomas Harris, who most notably wrote the book Silence of the Lambs. This does not have to do with the NBC show Hannibal that was actually really good. It had Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter, and the showrunner was Brian Fuller, who great showrunner as well. In any case, this one will follow on the personal untold story of Clarice Starling as she returns from the field to pursue serial murderers and sexual predators while navigating the high-stakes political world of Washington, D.C. Based on the rights and who has what, and it's all a little weird, but all of that is to say that we're not going to see Hannibal Lecter. They may not even mention his name in this series. It is all based around Clarice Starling, and she just happened to be the character.
Oh, Clarice.
So, yeah, it's one of those weird things where the ownership and the rights sort of play on what they can work with, what they can do, whereas NBC's Hannibal covered the novels Red Dragon, Hannibal, and Hannibal Rising. This one is purely adapted from Silence of the Lambs. So,
yeah, we'll keep you posted on it. It doesn't sound very enticing to me, but if you're a fan of it, though, that's awesome. It gives CBS All Access another show to watch and add to their streaming service.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of a good CBS show randomly on the streaming service.
Are you going to say Evil?
Well, I haven't seen Evil.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it. It's called, it's from, remember Kevin Williamson who did Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yeah.
He did a show on there called Tell Me a Story. And it's a dark take on all those, on fairy tales. So like the first season was about Little Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, and then the Three Little Pigs. But the way they morph it, it's not necessarily those stories, but kind of in a modern day setting. Really good show. I'd recommend that. I did watch that.
Cool. Worth checking out. Yeah.
Kind of random.
Yeah. CBS is known for its, old people shows, CSI, NCIS, all of the, different letters. And then obviously their comedies, which every single comedy they put out is basically a huge hit. But yeah, this will probably fall a little bit closer to their NCIS type shows. All right, moving on to other horror movies that are being adapted as TV series. SyFy is picking up a Child's Play series called Chucky, and it is a continuation of the first seven Child's Play films. So the reboot that featured Mark Hamill as the voice of Chucky, this has nothing to do with that. It follows in, Cult of Chucky and Bride of Chucky and, Seed of Chucky, all of those ones, but as a TV series. Now the question is, we don't know yet, is Brad Dourif going to show up as the voice of Chucky? Uh-oh. I can't hear you at all, Tone.
How about now?
There you are.
There we go. Okay. I'm playing with the sounds. I'm trying to work in between here.
I think that works.
There. Got feedback. It's much better.
Good. Thoughts on Brad Dourif?
Oh, I would love to have Brad Dourif back, man. He is the voice of Chucky. Mark Hamill did a great job. Hello, Andy. But the reboot was kind of weird.
You saw it? I haven't even seen it yet.
I just seen bits and pieces of it.
Okay.
It just looks weird.
So, SyFy is picking that one up, and if you're a fan of any of the Child's Play movies, that is one to check out. All right, moving on to the world.
I do gotta say before we move on to the world, I don't know if that's such a good idea to have a Chucky series because they did a Friday the 13th, a Nightmare on Elm Street. These things are probably just better as movies, not shows.
Yeah. Unless they have the right idea, some way to do it over a series of 10, 13, 24 episodes, however many they do in a season. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. But it's on SyFy, so it's, if you've got cable or access to their streaming service, might be worth checking out. Excuse me. All right. Let's see. What was I saying? Oh, moving over to the world of the Arrowverse. We're talking the CW DC shows. We know already that Arrow is concluding at the end of the season. It won't be making a comeback. But every other show in that DC Arrowverse is being renewed for a new season. So you're going to get Batwoman Season 2, Black Lightning Season 4, The Flash Season 7, Legends of Tomorrow Season 6, and Supergirl Season 6 as well. I really wanted to check out the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Haven't had a chance to yet. I've fallen so behind on following all of these shows just because there's too many of them. But I figured, Crisis on Infinite Earths, probably don't need to know what's going on in any of those shows to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's probably when you could just jump right in. At least that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to jump right in, enjoy it for what it is. Then if I'm curious, I'll go back and I'll check out the other shows.
Yep. Just too much TV.
There's a lot. There's not a lot of time in our lives. Now, if we got paid to do this, then of course you get a little more thorough on.
We'd make time.
I'd be more than happy to sit down and watch all these things.
Yeah. But if you are a fan of these Greg Berlanti DC Arrowverse shows, at least they are all coming back with the exception of Arrow.
Yeah, because they ended that one, right? So
they did, yeah.
That's the only one that's officially over?
Yep. Speaking of too much TV and more new series that are in the works, Disney Plus announced a couple months ago that Ron Howard and Jon Kasdan, were producing or in the pre-production process for a Willow series. If you don't remember Willow,
Willow.
had Val Kilmer, Warwick Davis, was a fun fantasy movie, originally directed by Ron Howard, developed from a story by George Lucas, and it was a Lucasfilm movie. I'm excited to find out that it's coming back. It's nice to know that Ron Howard and Jon Kasdan are involved, and Warwick Davis will be returning as well. You think we'll see Val Kilmer as Mad Mardigan again?
Probably not.
No.
I think they'll have a whole new one, especially based on the fact that he was super chatty at your time. No, I don't think he's gonna be on there. But you know what's crazy is I haven't seen Willow since I was a kid, so I can't really comment too much on that. I know it's on Disney Plus, so it's definitely something I want to go back and watch. Now, you had just went back and seen it recently, didn't you?
Well, sort of twice. So
okay,
about a year ago, really wanted to watch it, and of course, looked up online. Whereas Willow streaming wasn't streaming anywhere. You couldn't even rent it from Amazon, so it's not like I could pay $3, $4, $5 to rent it. Then you look on Amazon for the Blu-ray or the DVD. The Blu-ray was selling for over $200. That's how hard it was to find. And we finally found, I guess you could sort of call it a bootleg copy on YouTube. Essentially, it was, like the old VHS version. It was sort of hard to make out, the sound, and it was blurry. And, wow, that was loud.
yeah, sorry.
So we watched it, but it wasn't as enjoyable as it could have been. And then when Disney Plus was released, we went back and rewatched it again, and that definitely made up for it.
Yeah, it's definitely something I really want to watch and get into. And, I think it's one of those things I may not have been into a whole lot as a kid, but maybe nowadays something I could appreciate more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I liked it as a kid. It's just not something I really followed. So check it out, Disney. That's one good reason. Another good reason to have Disney Plus is check that out. So.
Yeah, and it holds up. I mean, the special effects, the acting, the fight scenes. Yeah, there's some cheesy moments, but of course it was made in the mid-'80s. So, yeah. Was it mid-'80s? Late 80s. I want to say 88, 89.
Yeah, late 80s, because they made that arcade game. That's where that Willow came from. So
that's right. But I'm looking forward to that, and if we find more information out about it, we will pass it along to you. All right, and sticking with Disney Plus, our last story in the television genre, a Star Wars series that we are excited about. We've mentioned a couple times the progress on it, and we were talking about Ewan McGregor returning to his role as Obi-Wan in a Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
oh, it's gonna be so good.
It is going to be good. Now, based on where you stand on this next bit of information, you may enjoy it, you may not enjoy it, but there are rumors.
Excuse me.
that somebody will be at least appearing in the series, if not being a secondary character.
He's embarrassing.
We are talking
Maury.
Jar Binks. So
He's back.
personally,
He's back.
when the prequel series first came out, everybody was just hated him, and even the actor Ahmad Best was just, almost driven to the brink of suicide because of fan backlash on Jar Binks. I think over the years that mentality has sort of softened a little bit, and especially the kids who grew up with it and enjoyed him. They still enjoyed the character. What are your thoughts, Tone, as far as him being included in the series?
Oh, only if they could tie it in to make sure, since this the Obi-Wan series takes place after Revenge of the Sith, before A New Hope.
Right.
So what I would like it to be is let's follow through with the whole that he was a Sith Lord. That would make it awesome for me.
That would be cool.
Because if you go back to that YouTube video where he was like using the Force and things like that, and I liked how they were trying to set him up to be that, because it's like
potentially
he had such a huge role in the first movie. He was a little bit cut back in the second. By the third movie, he had all but a cameo, if that.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Ow.
that was loud, Jar Jar.
That was loud. Yeah. You know, the rumor has always been there that he was a Sith Lord, which I think would have made the character that much better.
Oh, way better.
And now that we're a few weeks past the opening of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, I don't know if we talked about it just personally or if we talked about it on the show, but in the cloning lab where Emperor Palpatine was, I think an awesome little just nugget of that would have made the fans happy is where they had those cylinders where all the Snoke rejects were. If they had another cylinder that had Jar Jar Binks in it,
yes,
that would have been a nice little nod to him being a Sith Lord.
And sorry, I am replying to one of our fans here. Lacey let us know that Willow was 1988.
Ah.
And the reason why I say message me on here is because I can't watch our YouTube and answer the questions as it's going. So just send it right there. I'd be more than happy to answer because my phone's kind of acting silly. So so if you hear the ding, I'll try to limit those dings as best I can. But.
All right. And if you are on our Facebook, anywhere that we're on social media, tell us what you think about especially this story in particular. Adding Jar Jar Binks, not adding him. Is it worth it? Have your thoughts changed on the character? We want to know what you think.
Can it be Baby Jar Jar? Would that redeem him?
Ooh, that's tough. Can't be nearly as cute as Baby Yoda.
No, you can't top Baby Yoda, man.
No.
Being a Star Wars TV show, if it's anything like The Mandalorian, I mean, the bar is set high for these TV shows, and I think with Ewan McGregor coming back doing Kenobi, that's going to be a dang good show. So, I would rather him just maybe make an appearance on an episode. I'd be fine, or two, but not the whole series. Don't make him like a sidekick. You don't need that crap.
Right. So,
and I would like an appearance from Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon as a Force Ghost. That would be sweet, too.
Well, speaking of appearances, we already know from the Star Wars Clone Wars series that Darth Maul lived past Phantom Menace. That would be awesome to make him the main bad guy in this series.
Yeah, they would be good. I'm getting some fan feedback here. Darth Jar Jar, and they definitely agree, needs to be a Sith. So, getting the feedback there. That's what I think. He'd be so much cooler if they would have pulled the trigger and made him a quote unquote heel. Just get him involved. That would be so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is Jar Jar Binks.
I can't think of much else to talk about on that. So with that, we will move on to the weekend box office report.
Oh, yes. Here you go. That volume down a little bit there. I fired the sound engineer. You fired.
I don't need my eardrums. It's okay.
No. I thought we lost it a long time ago at a Slayer show or something.
Oh, they're bad.
Yeah.
They're not great.
What?
All right. So the king has been dethroned for this week's box office report. Star Wars is no longer number one. In fact, that goes to the Sam Mendes World War I movie and contender for Best Picture of the Year, 1917, and it brought in $36.5 million over the weekend.
Nice. It won a ton of awards at the Golden Globes this last Sunday.
It did. Apparently, it's a really love to see it, but finding time to see it is.
Elsa unfroze me. Thank God. So this is probably, it says your internet connection is unstable, but yet it says I have 5G and I'm perfectly fine. And there's no kids playing Fortnite.
Yep.
Next room. So I don't know what that was, but the joys of doing a live show sometimes where all of a sudden it becomes like Zach Morris. Time out.
Yep. Tony's doing a pretty good job of sitting still, yeah.
Yeah, just kidding. All right. So before Elsa froze my bootay, I must say the last thing we talked about, we were getting into the number 2 movie with Star Wars.
It was.
Okay.
Yep. Rise of Skywalker made $15 million.
Skywalker.
Domestic total is at $478.1 million. Worldwide is at $989.5, just shy of $1 billion.
Yowie wowie.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep. All right. Third place is another very enjoyable movie. We're talking Jumanji: The Next Level with another $14 million, and it's making a pretty good buck there as well. $257.2 million domestically, $671.1 worldwide.
What is Jumanji? That was a good movie.
That was fun.
Up. So if you out there haven't seen Jumanji Next Level yet, not as good as the last one, but right up there. Like, it's a good sequel. So.
Yeah. Did you notice, I mean, again, spoiler alert, but it's been out long enough now, that Nora, who owned the coffee shop, was actually the mother from the very first Jumanji with Robin Williams?
No, I did not notice that. Somebody told me, because I actually suck. I've never seen the original Jumanji.
What?
Never seen the original with Robin Williams. One of my favorite actors. Never seen it.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I am honestly
Breaking
shocked.
news. Yeah, dude, I've never seen Jumanji, the original.
Well, you should go find...
I'll go watch it, but somebody did tell me that.
Yeah,
And
find
to me, it would've made no
Jumanji.
sense. Yeah. What is Jumanji? Welcome to Jumanji. Okay.
So that was third place, and fourth place was the Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx legal drama Just Mercy with $10 million.
I'm glad you specified who was in that, because I was like, what's Just Mercy?
Yeah, great
Every time I
actors.
hear Mercy, I think of Uncle Jesse.
Have mercy.
Mercy.
Yeah, two great actors, but it's one of those things where, unfortunately, dramas, just pure dramas, aren't getting as much attention to the box office as they used to, just because streaming services and everything that's around right now. One sort of neat little tie-in is that it's directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who is actually directing the upcoming Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings for Marvel.
Oh, okay.
So, little bridge in the gap there.
I like that.
All right. Fifth place was the new comedy Like a Boss with $10 million. Yep, that's my thoughts exactly.
Who's in that one?
Tiffany Haddish, Rose Byrne, and Salma Hayek.
Hey, did you see Salma Hayek at the Golden Globes on Sunday?
I did not watch the Golden Globes.
No, I
Not
just
great.
remember sitting at BJ's with my sister and her fiance, and we were watching. I think like we all collectively were looking at the screen. We're like, "Hello." Needless to say, it was all bliss.
Gotcha.
You listen to the podcast. She had massive cleavage. That's what I
okay.
was talking about.
That's-
Big old hoobies. You motorboating son of a gun.
Yep. All right, sixth place, the PG-13 period drama Little Women with $7.6 million. I heard it's a pretty good movie, just not my cup of tea. A movie I know you're looking forward to, the PG-13 thriller Underwater.
Okay.
They even put it in here. Got off to a soggy start in seventh place, opening with only $7 million.
I'm thinking this is one of those movies that sat on the back burner for a long time because T.J. Miller's in it, and I thought T.J. Miller was like banned from Hollywood. Like,
Yeah.
crap anymore.
I thought he was blacklisted.
That's what I thought. So that's what makes me think. And then I thought Lori Petty was back from in the army now. But, and if you guys are too young to know that, that's a really it's a Pauly Shore movie from the 90s. Not as good as Son-in-Law, but it was an enjoyable movie with Andy Dick, Pauly Shore, and Lori Petty. Long rant, that's who I thought Kristen Stewart looked like, and it's also a Kristen Stewart movie, which means it's a no.
All right, 8th place, the Disney sequel Frozen 2 with $5.7 million. Whew, it's making money. $459.3 million domestically, worldwide $1.37 billion.
Woo! Frozen's doing good, man. It's made almost as much as Star Wars. And granted, it came out sooner, but Elsa, not only did she freeze the damn show today, she's still making money. I've heard a lot of good things about Frozen 2. I still have not seen it, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. At this point, I'll just wait till it's out on Disney+.
Yeah, probably me too. At this point, I don't want to be no R. Kelly and creeping on up the local Worthington AMC up the road here.
In second-run theaters?
Yeah, like Sticky Feet.
Ugh.
Yay, Elsa!
All right, we're almost to the end of the top 10. In 9th place is another movie that I wanted to see, just haven't had a chance to. Rian Johnson's PG-13 murder mystery, Knives Out.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things for that. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then finally rounding out the top 10 is the animated espionage comedy Spies in Disguise with $5.1 million, starring Will Smith and Tom Holland. My boys saw that. They loved it, but their tastes aren't quite as refined, so I don't know if it's actually good or not.
I've heard good things about it. I think most kids that have seen it, obviously, that's who it's for.
Yeah.
So it's good. I've heard a lot of good things. Oh, okay. I will check that out. They're referring to Knives Out. Gotcha.
Oh,
thanks. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading some Chime messages on the side here. But Spies in Disguise, I've heard it's gotten good reviews. A lot of people I've seen it. Mike loved it. Fan of the show, so way to go.
Yep.
Go see it. Spies in Disguise.
And Tom Holland's making quite the voice actor run. Not only does he have that, but then he also has the new Disney Pixar Onward movie coming out.
Yeah.
Him and Chris Pratt.
And what's great is he doesn't have to do anything. Like me, all day at work, I try to do these voices so that way, like, hopes that someone will walk by and be like, that guy's funny. We need to get him to do some voices for our show. And I can't. But then these guys that are just Hollywood stars can just talk normal and there's nothing to it. Like I was going to say Birds in Disguise, Spies in Disguise. Will Smith is, not only did they draw the character to look like him, but he talks like him. Same with Tom Holland. So,
yep.
It's Hollywood, baby.
It's the way it goes. So, it'll be interesting to see what the top 10 looks like next week, considering you mentioned already Bad Boys for Life is coming out, Doolittle, and there's a limited release Justin Long movie called The Wave.
Is he still making movies? I thought he was only in Kevin Smith stuff.
Well, apparently.
Yeah, he was in, was it Jerry and Silent Bob reboot? He wasn't.
I don't doubt that. Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently him and, who's the other actor? Remember the old Apple commercials, Mac and PC?
Yeah.
Yep. Apparently they were in that together? They were in the same scene, or?
They actually were. Now I think about it, you're right, they are. I don't think I got it when I was there, but you're right. And thinking back, yes.
Okay. Well, when I finally see it, I'll have to check that out. Okay. All right, that does it for the box office report. Let's go ahead and go into some movie news now. If you got your finger on the button there, Tone.
You the Keymaster.
Wrap it up, fuzzball.
We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
This baby hits 88 miles per hour. They're going to see some serious shit.
All right, our first bit of movie news. Going back a number of episodes, probably 5-6 months ago, we had talked about Sony wanting to spin off their Spider-Man characters. Obviously, Venom was a little bit of a big hit. Still doesn't hold up to the same quality as the Marvel movies. We know that Spider-Man is still owned by Sony, but is part of the Marvel MCU. We had that whole controversy as far as, if he was going back, what was happening with that. And then, of course, Sony wants to make a universe out of the sort of rogues characters and the lesser known characters in the Spider-Man camp, but aren't really known. And so all of that goes to say that we know that they've been working on a Morbius, the Living Vampire movie starring Jared Leto. I know both of us are a little concerned with it, obviously knowing his take on the Joker, which is by far both of our least favorite takes.
Sorry, Lacey. He was the worst effing Joker there was.
Yep.
He sucked.
But what we got coming out just yesterday is actually a photo of him in the full makeup as Morbius, the Living Vampire. Even though it doesn't show a whole lot, it is going to show that Sony is trying to take things seriously. They're going to the source material, and they're trying to make it as true to form as possible. What did you think of the look?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And it's also on our Facebook page if you guys want to take a look at it as well. But it's pretty spot on. I think it looks good. Definitely doesn't look like Jared Leto. It doesn't look like Gangster Joker either. I give him props. That it's all about the story. See, the problem with Morbius the Vampire is how many people out there in the comic, that in the non-comic book world really know who that is. So it might just be like, oh, it's a vampire movie. But you tied to Spider-Man, so it's kind of strange. I just got to call it worst Joker ever. Third best, thank you very much. But I digress. This whole Sony cinematic Marvel Universe thing is funky, but kudos to them for trying something new. You gotta use the rights or you lose them. So you have to do something with them, and I'm sure people will see them. We'll probably see it, and based on the images, doesn't look too bad.
Is it true if you don't use it, you lose it?
I don't know, man. I haven't used it in well, I'm still here.
Sorry, a little 40-year-old virgin reference. All right, so
he's so funny.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by the picture. I would really like to see a trailer come out sometime soon. And then also scrolling through here, it looks like the movie is set for a July 31st release, 2020, which goes to tell me we're probably going to see something sooner rather than later.
Yeah, isn't that the same time Ghostbusters Afterlife is coming out?
I think it is.
Sony's stupid, man. Sony is releasing Ghostbusters Afterlife and Morbius at this. Sony, move Morbius to like September or something like that.
Well, the only reason they're not doing that is because Venom 2 comes out in October. So they want to give it enough time in between. I'd say move it up to like May, but knowing how long it takes to do post-production, they might not be ready in time for that. So,
yeah, I don't know.
Either
I would
that
really
or
set up against one of my own studio pictures. I'd maybe go a week or two later because Ghostbusters is going to kick its ass.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I'm so excited for that. All right, moving on. Looks like Mission Impossible is getting 2 sequels at the minimum. Again, still starring Tom Cruise, who, God, that guy's like an ageless wonder. He just continues doing his own stunts. He's doing pretty good for himself.
Yeah, he is. He's got Maverick coming out, and I'm actually surprised that they're doing 2 more Mission Impossibles, to be honest with you. I'm excited that, to me, they keep getting better and better and better with each one, so I'm very excited for bringing it. I mean, as long as he can do it, I'm okay with that. It should have been a nice transition. Speaking of vampires, Tom Cruise. The guy's insane, man.
Yeah.
What is he, 67?
There's a couple encouraging things. Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote and directed Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and Fallout, which were 2 fantastic entries into the Mission Impossible franchises. He's doing the writing and directing for the next 2 movies. And he just confirmed some casting news that Nicholas Hoult, who you know as Beast or Hank McCoy from the X-Men movies, will be not only in one of them, but actually both as the potential villain. At least that's what the rumor mill is saying.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I don't know what it's going to take place, but the last couple have seemed to have some corresponding ones, from the one movie going into the next one. There's been a little correlation, and then it kind of branches into its own. So I'm sure something like that. But if he's signed on for a couple of them, that means you can anticipate that he's going to be a big bad that, maybe this time Ethan Hunt might have bitten off a little more than he can chew. So
yeah,
I can't wait. I'm stoked. So.
And
I don't really show stoked at 11:03 p.m.
Right. And, the Mission Impossible movies have been good. It's funny because the second one, which was directed by John Woo, I just
do it for the Woo.
John Woo. I just rewatched when I was out in California. I was in the hotel room. That one does not hold up well. I mean,
MI2.
Yeah.
It had a bitchin' soundtrack. It had Metallica, I Disappear, had Limp Bizkit. Yeah, baby.
I think it was all of the wooisms, like the slow motion where he grabs her scarf real quick. And so, that one didn't hold up. But the third one, directed by J.J. Abrams, that one was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, what's funny is, to be honest, the first one was just kind of okay to me.
Yeah.
The original one, it was nothing major. I know it was a big major picture in the 90s, but that's why I said they got better and better. Now the soundtracks have not been as good as the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I Disappeared, that's such a damn good song.
That is a good song. Yeah. Speaking of franchises getting better and better, or in this case, not getting better and better, we spoke, obviously, when Dark Phoenix came out, that was a big letdown. And
do I smell it?
You smell it.
It's the Nerd World Turn. It's a story about a trailer that went away and has come back again called The New Mutants.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I won't be here all week.
So, the New Mutants we've been talking about for a long time. I mean, it was shot decades ago. It was supposed to be released last century.
Didn't it? I think they filmed it when we were still seniors in high school.
I think so. At least that's the way it feels.
Yeah.
We know now that it is getting a release in theaters April 3rd, 2020. It is a spin-off, or at least it was supposed to be a spin-off of the Fox X-Men franchise, which obviously is all now owned by Marvel. All of that, and we have a brand new trailer that was just released about a week ago. And after watching the trailer, I actually kind of think it looks better than Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I think it is going to actually be. Dark Phoenix sucked.
It was not a great movie.
No, I wanted to like it. I waited till Black Friday to buy it because I wanted to complete my X-Men collection, but it just wasn't good.
Yeah.
I remember being in Disney World this last summer when it came out, and I remember getting soaked on the way to the AMC there at down in Orlando and sitting in the theater in soaked clothes watching a really crappy movie. I wanted to like it. I did.
I did too, but this trailer is actually kind of encouraging. We know that they were going with a horror theme. It looks like that thought process is paying off, and now that it's in the hands of Disney, that they didn't go away with away from it. But I don't know. It could be decent enough. It could even be good enough that Marvel might decide to make them part of the MCU.
Maybe. I did read they accidentally labeled it as an MCU movie, but just for the record, it's not an MCU movie.
No.
So, it's its own thing. There was a line. Somebody just messaged me. It was Lace. But one of the best lines she said from the first Mission Impossible was, "Hasta lasagna, don't get any on ya." There you go.
Totally forgot about that.
Hasta lasagna, baby.
So yeah, the trailer is up at our Facebook page.
Yes,
Go check it out. Let us know what you think, if it's going to be as good as it potentially looks. Again, I'm pleasantly surprised. I went in with zero expectations, which I'll probably do for the movie as well.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm going to do. I'm going in just like it's going to be a pile of poop, but I'll go see it. Maybe.
All right. And we had a frozen Tony there for a second.
We did. Just gotta make sure I don't make a dumb face when I do it, because I think the last one was like, and then you just don't want to get stuck like that too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the New Mutants is not part of the MCU. What is the new Thor movie that's going to be coming out, Thor: Love and Thunder. Brings Chris Hemsworth, Taika Waititi back. Obviously, they were, Thor Ragnarok, which is definitely the best entry into...
It froze again.
Yep. Thor Ragnarok was definitely the best entry into the Thor movies, if not one of the best MCU movies that's out there as well. And so we're going to get a little bit more of that. And it has been at least confirmed, as far as the story that I'm reading, that former Bruce Wayne, Batman from the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, Christian Bale will be joining the cast of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, good for you.
And
I'm Batman.
The rumor mill is saying that he's either going to be playing the alien Beta Ray Bill, at least in voice form, maybe his motion capture, or Balder the Brave. And no word yet if either of those are going to be villains, heroes. Obviously, Beta Ray Bill was another carrier of, Mjolnir, the Thor hammer, but I don't quite recall if he started out as a villain or not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either. I'm excited because he said he didn't want to do any more superhero type movies. So this is really cool. I mean, I really liked his run in the Dark Knight trilogy. The best. I mean, even when it comes to Marvel, I mean, that was the best DC's ever done.
Oh, totally.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait, man. I think the more and more I read about Thor: Love and Thunder, the more I get excited. I mean, it doesn't come out till November 5th of 2021, so this is like a really early news bit, and you'll hear a lot about it before it comes out. But it's a long ways away, but man, I think it's going to kick some ass. It's going to be a good flick.
And what'll be interesting to see is we already know that Natalie Portman's Jane Foster will become female Thor.
Yeah.
If she's going to totally take over the reins, and there'll be a new series of movies starring her. And then, we lose Chris Hemsworth. I don't know. Everything's up in the air, but we will find out November 5th, 2021.
Yeah, we got a while, but I'm glad they're starting to get it started. And as always, as we get more news, we will pass it along here on the Proton Pack.
Yeah. I'm getting excited for Phase 4 of the MCU. We've got Black Widow coming out in a couple months, which, that was probably the movie I was least excited about being announced. But it looks great. I mean, it looks like fun. One of the movies that we know is going to have a huge impact not only on the overall MCU, but the way Phase 4 is going is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They're talking about tying it into WandaVision, into Loki, both series that are going to be on Disney Plus.
And they look. I can't wait for these Marvel shows. They're going to be excellent. Well, fingers crossed, they're going to be excellent.
Yeah. And Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was reported to be the first MCU horror movie, which obviously Scott Derrickson, who is the director, is a horror director by trade. So, that would have fit perfectly. Now, I say would have fit perfectly because he has now fallen out of the directing role due to, quote unquote, creative differences. And what that means. Anytime somebody says creative differences, the studio won out, and they basically said, well, you can either leave gracefully or we'll fire you.
Yeah, that's pretty much. It's kind of like when I got fired from Hollywood Video in high school. You can leave on your own, or we're going to let you go.
Right. So no word yet of who's going to be picking that up in its place. Hopefully it doesn't change the thought of it being a Marvel horror movie too much. But knowing the track record that Kevin Feige has and the people that he puts in place for these movies, heck, he replaced Edgar Wright with Peyton Reed, and I mean the Ant-Man movies turned out to be charming and funny and great on their own right.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think they do their due diligence. And they're able to do this. They'll be able to line it up perfectly. Kind of a random thing, just on a side tear here, going off script here a little bit. So they added Fantastic Four, the ones from the early 2000s, onto Disney Plus.
Did they really?
Yeah, Kevin Feige was a producer of those movies.
I knew he was a producer. I didn't know if they were going to add those on. So
yeah, so far the only one that's appeared is Rise of the Silver Surfer. So
okay,
that was on there. And I noticed Kevin Feige's name popped up, and I'm like, why was this movie a piece of crap? Because, well, they didn't have the budget and stuff, probably.
Yeah. What's funny is you bring that up. The same weekend, basically, the same day that I saw Mission Impossible 2, that same day they had the latest Fantastic Four on, the one that had Miles Teller in it. And
oh, yeah, the one where Josh Trank crapped all over it right before the release date.
And so I figured, you know what? I'm going to watch it. I'm going to sit through it. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I remember. Boy, was I wrong.
That bad?
Boy, was I wrong. Yeah.
Was it worse than like the cheesy, like only go to the Comic-Con, get the bootleg VHS version?
Not quite that bad, but
okay.
Just, oh.
I thought it was a piece of crap. It was terrible when I saw it, and I have never gone back to it. So.
Yeah. I mean, Fox crapped all over that, and, the good news is with them back in the hands of Kevin Feige and the MCU, they're going to get the proper treatment.
Yeah, I think it's going to go good. I really love the fact that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, they're all in good hands with the MCU now. It's great. I can't wait. I wish Sony would play nice with the Spider-Verse and really tie that in. I think Disney can help them with that, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah. Yep. At least
Fox
we get
just dropped the ball with some of that stuff, man. They made some of their characters look really cool, but
yeah. All right. So that was our last bit of movie news.
Is that it for movies, mister?
It is. And we're getting into our last section of the show, which is good because I'm starting to run down a little bit. I don't know about you, Tone.
Well, I keep freezing, so I always get like a boost of energy when I do the Zach Morris going. Yeah.
Hey, man, you want to play some video games?
I'm premature. Tune in to see it. You were trying to set me up for the video game intro, and I was like, screw that, I'm pressing the button.
I'm tired, I want to go to bed.
I don't care, I'm not even drinking, and I'm pressing the damn thing.
Well, if you did hear that, then you know that means it's time for video game news, which we've got some...
I like video games, mister. Video games are my favorite, especially when I'm getting ready to play me some Nintendo. That's going to be great.
I was trying to channel my Tara Strong there, I think. That was a little bad.
All right. In the past few weeks, there hasn't been a whole lot in regards to video game news. Luckily, we're starting to see some more come out. We know we're getting closer. CES was just this past weekend. We're getting closer to E3. So more and more... Yep, more and more information is going to come out about some really exciting video game news, and we've got a few bits of info here. The first being that Resident Evil 3, which is essentially going to be what they're calling a remix, not a remake, of the classic Resident Evil 3. It is basically getting a full makeover. They're re-releasing it. It'll be on the next generation systems. And it looks good, but it won't have the multiple endings that the original Resident Evil 3 had. I played the original a little bit. I don't know. Did you get much into it, Tone?
No, you know what? I never beat the original Resident Evil because I didn't like the controls back in the day. They were terrible. Resident Evil 2 I got pretty far on, but again, controls not fun. I did want to pick up the remake. It looked freaking awesome. They did such a good job with the graphics on the recent remake of 2. This one looks incredibly good. So, don't you worry, youngster. That story's coming next. I'm seeing my messages off here. Yeah, man, I think the graphics look cool, but I did never beat Resident Evil 3. I'm trying to stretch this out. You just asked me a simple question and I ran.
Yeah, simple no would have sufficed.
Like, just shut up, dude. Just know you didn't play it cool. That's all the audience wants. They don't want to hear me ramble.
But like you mentioned, they did do a remaster of Resident Evil 2, whereas that one was a true to form comparison to the original game. This one is going to be, as I said, a remix where it's in the same world. It's not exactly the same as the third one. Obviously, they won't have the multiple endings, but Resident Evil 3 is known for the main bad guy who is probably the best of all the Resident Evil bad guys, and I'm talking Nemesis. Yeah. And so if you don't recall who Nemesis is, I'm sure Tony will post up something on our Facebook page. But
he's on there, man. He is a handsome mother. Good thing I didn't really cuss.
Yeah, it would have been a little late.
That would have been way too late, yeah. So.
But the one thing I do remember of Resident Evil 3 is that he was just relentless. I mean, he would track you down everywhere, and he was hard as hell to beat.
Yeah, he was tough. He would show up. Now they're saying in this game, though, to add to the elements, so I'm excited to play it. But now, like, he'll show up at any point. Like, it's not like there were certain points as you got further along in the game he would show up. Now he could show up at any time.
Yeah, and they did great with the jump scares. I mean, I remember playing the first Resident Evil, and first time those dogs came crashing through the window, I just about pooped my pants.
Yeah. You said poop on the show, mister. That was very funny of you.
Oh, PG-13.
Keeping it fun with poop.
Yep. So Resident Evil 3, looking through, has a release date of April 3rd, 2020. So not too far away.
Dang, they must have been working on that for a while.
Yeah, pretty close.
Ironically enough, part 2 came out last April, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, year turnover, not too bad, not too shabby. All right, this next story.
This is the article. So, Mike, I know you're following along. You've hung on this long, buddy. It is time to talk.
He's on fire! Beat me to the punch. Yep, we're talking Arcade1Up's online NBA Jam cabinet.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
that's an air ball.
So many memories.
Oh, dude, you know what's funny? I found the soundboard for this game, and there was one I was gonna play. I'll play it when I see it, but continue on.
So the four-player cabinet will feature the original NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and NBA Hang Time. At least that's what the rumor mill is saying, which I think that's a pretty good lineup.
Oh, it's a heck of a lineup.
Like my wife always says, not tonight.
I never heard that nickname, but I thought
that
was
remember
awesome.
that.
Yeah, I don't either. That's cool. We play it again because I.
Like my wife always says, not tonight. He's on fire.
Oh.
Rejected.
I'm gonna have to find those sound bites.
From the Waffle House, located just off the Beltway.
This is good. I'll say
no good. From Section C, row 5, seat 7.
This guy was good. Now, if you guys have never played NBA Jam, man, NBA Jam was such a fun arcade game.
Yeah, it was basically a 2-on-2. The characters were exaggerated. They had all kinds of fun modes like big head mode and You could do certain dunks that would essentially light the ball on fire in the hoop
and break the glass.
Yep.
And that's where you got the "he's on fire," boom, shakalaka. Yeah. And then when you're doing good, you'd hear
"he's heating up."
That. And, what I like too is you could get the codes where you could play back then. You could play. I think the president was Bill Clinton, so you could play as Bill Clinton,
That's
Al Gore, Hillary. You could play as man. Could you imagine today you play as Donald Trump? Huge. I built a wall. It was a brick wall. Huge.
And
boom shakalaka!
And those of you who aren't familiar with what Arcade1Ups are, they're basically miniature arcade cabinets, and they've been releasing all the big names: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom. Obviously this is coming out now.
That one hasn't been announced. You just spoiled it.
I know. Star Wars, you name it, they have it. Now, my only issue with it is I've had the chance to play them both at your place of business, Tony, Costco, and they carry them at Walmart as well. They are too small for me, even with the riser. There's an available riser that it comes with.
Yeah.
I still find myself bending over and my back hurts, and I wish they just released it in a full-sized cabinet.
Yeah, that'd be good. They're pretty pricey too. Like, I'm a huge fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I like geeked out when I saw that was coming out. I'm like, oh my god, I have to have it. But at the time, I lived in a basement, and I was like, where the hell am I going to put this? Now, it would look pretty good looking right here.
Yeah, not gonna lie, it would.
It would look pretty good for a background, better than 2 guitars and a shredder. Hey, the shredder. Ba-ting! Dude, that NBA Jam one, I'm hoping it is a little bigger. It's a 4-player cabinet. The only other 4-player cabinet is Ninja Turtles, but I agree with you. The Ninja Turtle one is still pretty small. Because when you go to Walmart, we're even on the riser, it's on that shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've already got a shelf off the ground, and it's still low. And I love it, but at the same time, I know like Mike, big NBA Jam fan. His daughter Annabella's huge with NBA, and she's always playing NBA Jam on the PlayStation. So that's I think it's gonna be cool, man. I don't know how often I'd have 4 people like come up here and but that's the thing, they're spaced really close together too.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you don't have to have people come to your home. This will be the first cabinet to offer online play. So if you're connected to the Wi-Fi, if you had one, Mike had one, I had one, we could all play NBA Jam together.
Kaboom!
Kaboom!
From no man's land!
So
Big Papa!
Maybe some of the older cabinets will, retrofit that in or do something to allow online play as well. But some cool stuff. Now, the funny thing is we're talking about how small their cabinets are. Apparently at CES, and if you've seen the picture, they had a massively oversized one.
Yeah, which is crazy. They said that was the largest cabinet. They have a Guinness Book of World Records went out and actually clarified that as the biggest arcade cabinet ever built. So, and it was just for a CES show.
That's cool. That's cool. Good job, guys. Good job.
Yeah. So that'll be out. They haven't given us a release date. My thought is you'll probably see it later this year. I know E3, they didn't announce it at CES, but there was a picture someone was able to swoop before it got taken down. Somebody did snap a picture of a Marvel versus Capcom cabinet. Now on that one, it'll have X-Men versus Street Fighter and Marvel versus Capcom, but they got rid of the image real quick, and there's no mention of it. So
that would be a cool
one.
It
doesn't exist, but it was right next to the NBA Jam cabinet, so it totally exists. They're also going to be putting out some pinball machines. So if you dream to ever own a pinball machine in your house, they're a little smaller, and they're not like a pinball machine per se that you're used to. It looks like a pinball machine, like they have Star Wars and then Attack from Mars. It's made from Zen, who put out Pinball FX on the Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. And they've gotten popular with the licensing from like Marvel, Star Wars and others. And on there, what it's going to have is a big digital screen. And when you're staring at it, it's going to give you the illusion of it being a real pinball machine. And those are going to run about $700, which they're still expensive, but their justification is if you ever want to own a pinball machine, you're looking at $5,000, $700.
Yeah. Still be cool to check out.
The only true pinball machine I ever want in my house is the Metallica one, man.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Most definitely. All right. And so as we get into 2020, we know that the major console manufacturers are working on their next-gen systems. And PlayStation has just released at CES the PlayStation 5 logo, which looks surprisingly like the PS4 logo.
Yeah, and it looks so much the same. I bet this is going to be the boot up sound too. It's the same as the first one.
Yeah, so they released the logo. It just says PS5. It looks exactly the same as PS4, only with the 5 this time. Not a lot of information about what the PS5 exactly is going to be. They're thinking about integrating some of the online aspects, similar to what Google Stadia is doing. Obviously trying to increase the boot up time. May do away with the physical discs, and looks like they'll probably go to a solid state hard drive as well.
Yeah, I've read that, and I've also read that they're working on, and these are all rumors because they haven't fully announced of everything what it can do. We're probably thinking E3 is when you'll hear a lot of this stuff. I've heard that this PlayStation is going to be backwards compatible. If it does do a disc drive, it'll be backwards compatible with PS1, PS2, 3, and 4, which would be awesome because, I mean, I got to say, it's a bit ridiculous with all these systems that keep coming out. I have so many damn systems. Just, they take up space. Like, just break it down. With it, I'd be willing if, whether it's Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation, every time you release a new one, as long as I don't have to go buy new games and hardware, I can, like, I don't mind buying them for the next gen. That's fine, but to play the stuff I already own, because I ain't going to get crap at the GameStop, So.
No.
So just let me use it so I can just play those games continuously if I want to go back on my new system. And I'll be gladly ready to upgrade. So I don't know if I'm that excited for the PS5 or the next Xbox. I'm still enjoying PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
Which is weird that they call it Xbox One when it's really Xbox 3. It's the third one.
Yeah. And I've got a PS4, but honestly, I don't play it that often. We got the Nintendo Switch, which is definitely getting its usage, but, it's also a little more, what's the word for it? Travel ready.
Yeah, that one. See, the Switch is good because that takes gaming on the go, and I think that's going to set a good precedence for something like, Microsoft's trying that out right now with their Game Pass. Theirs is play it anywhere. The problem with that is it's not like you can go buy, let's say, the hottest new game. If it's not on Game Pass, you can't take it everywhere. But I think they're going to eventually integrate where they'll take the elements of what the Switch does great, kind of take that and implement it in there because they're all about taking gaming on the go.
Yeah.
Personally, I had a lot of fun taking the Switch on my last plane flight. The only bummer was you can't play the classic Nintendo or Super Nintendo because you're not online, so you can't play it. But, gave me plenty of time to play some Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 and The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. I got to play a lot more of that. So, it's definitely fun to play, and just make sure you have a good battery pack because it does eat battery life.
We ended up getting the travel charger. So it's a USB charger that, if I'm at a hotel or if we're in the car and, just plug it in the USB and it's good to go.
That's perfect, man.
Yep.
Always a good thing.
Yep. So might as well switch over to the Switch news. Speaking of Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo!
reports have shown that Nintendo may be working on what is calling a Pro model of the Switch, which may even be out as soon as 2020. And obviously, you know, the Switch is a huge hit. They just released the Switch Lite, which, you know, over the holiday season flew off the shelves because of its portability. No word yet really what a Pro model would be, but the insiders have said that they are working on it. They predict that it would support 4K, potentially bigger cartridge sizes, and then beefed up components as well. My hope is that it's not a vastly different version of the Switch, that now the Switch games no longer work on that, and you have to upgrade to this new one. Switch hasn't been out that long.
No, it hasn't. I feel like I just got it. I feel like I got it a year ago, but it's been out for a couple of years now. But you know, it's really caught steam. It's been Nintendo's most successful system of all of them.
Yeah.
This dates back to 1985 when the NES came out, and you know, obviously for us growing up, that was amazing. Super Nintendo was mind blowing. The 64 was pretty good in my opinion. I thought it had some really classic games, but when you look back at the graphics, and GameCube had some stuff, and that's about when they start kind of making some bad systems. You know, the GameCube wasn't a big hit. But when they brought out the Wii, the first Wii was great. The Wii U tanked. Mm-hmm. And here we are with the Switch. So.
Yeah. Well, and even the Wii, I mean, it was behind as far as the graphics processing, and, you know, it was essentially a generation back of what PlayStation and Microsoft were doing.
Yeah, they should have released the Wii U right out the gate. They should have just made the Wii a high-def system, and they would have been fine. They could have skipped the whole Wii U thing. It would have just been...
Right.
There you go. High def, motion controls. Because, I mean, you go back, I remember right before Christmas, I was at a buddy's house down in Henderson, the Shipleys and the Dodsons. And the most fun thing we did on game night that night is we all played Wii Sports. Mm. Like, dude, just everyone had fun still bowling. So it still holds up. The fun factor's still there.
Yeah.
So, you know, Nintendo does things right, but, you know, they also do things really weird.
So, yeah, I mean, as we learn more about the Pro model, we'll let you know. At this point, it's just sort of one of those things that people are talking about and don't even know if it's really a thing that's coming to fruition, just because of how recently the Switch itself came out. But, yeah, when we know, you will know.
We'll keep you in the loop, and... you know, thanks for hanging in there. That's it. That's the show. I mean, we've hit all subjects. We had a lot to talk about tonight, and you know, a lot of fun. And it won't usually be this late, so if you've tuned in, thank you very much. Shout out to Kendra, new follower. Thank you very much. Mike Lacey, thanks for chiming in. And do you have any parting words, my friend?
No, just that follow us on social media. Facebook.com/Proton Pack Podcast. Same with Instagram. If you enjoyed the podcast itself, be sure to subscribe, like, leave a review. And we've got some really exciting things, as Tony mentioned earlier in the show, coming up with what we do and when we do it and who we do it with. Potentially.
I also want to give a shout out to Adam Nickel for subscribing and always coming up and telling me how much he enjoys the show. So Adam, if you're listening this week, hey buddy, thank you very much. Appreciate
right on. It. Well, I know Tony's tired. I'm tired. So let's go ahead and close this thing out and call it a night.
Toasty!
Excellent!
I am
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. Woo!
Mommy, where's Fluffy?
Goodbye.